Okay, so my last video, my roommates are probably gonna walk in and think I'm nuts, but my last video ended with me talking about Emily and how she left me, one, first for my ex-boyfriend, and then two, for the ex-boyfriend of the first girl I fell for. So my life was really looking up sophomore year of high school. So that was in April when she finally was just like, hey, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. You're not playing me anymore or whatever. My light just died on me, so time out. Nikes. I'm just killing it right now. In the summer, because I'm on the golf team as well, and in Nebraska we actually played during the fall season. So we would start our practices in the summer, and I was the oldest on the team going into my junior year. There was no seniors or anything, so I started talking to all the girls, trying to figure out, hey, like, when do you guys want to get together and go out and play? And there was one girl that lived out of town, so she could drive herself. And me and her became really close friends, and I started talking to her about everything from sophomore year and freshman and sophomore year actually, and we just bonded over everything. And then once golf season started, it's Nebraska, so you had to travel everywhere. There's no places that are close together, so we were always on the road, and one of our tournaments was about 3 hours away. Apparently everything happens when I leave town. I should just stay in town. But I met this new girl in one of the groups that I played with, and we exchanged numbers and everything, and we started talking. And throughout all that, because I knew how much this girl on my team knew, I was like, I'm not really sure what the feeling is, but I think I've fallen for her. And this new girl that I met during the season, I was like, why don't you just tell her? Like, obviously this is going nowhere between me and you, so why don't you just tell this other girl that you like her? And I was like, okay, let me get up the courage to do this. So about 3 weeks after that, and the season ended, we made it to state and everything. And before we left for state, I was just like, hey, after everything we've been through in the last 6-ish months, state's like in October, I was like, I don't know how you feel, but I have fallen for you, and I'd like to see where this goes. And she's like, well, I don't know if that works for me, but we can talk about it and stuff. So we went down to Grand Island, Nebraska, and we weren't exactly the most rule-following kids, I guess. So the first night in the hotel, there was 3 of us in the room, and the other girl went to bed, and me and my friend, her name is Kelly, we actually snuck out of our room and went across the street to this park that was outside our really creepy hotel. So we snuck out, and we're like over there talking and stuff. She's like, what made you finally decide to tell me that you liked me? And I was like, honestly, I've been talking to this other girl. She was falling for me, and I was just like, hey, I can't. Like, this isn't going to go anywhere because I've fallen for Kelly, and she told me to tell you. So that's how that worked out. And she's like, oh, okay, whatever. And it was getting cold because it's October in Nebraska, and the weather sucks. So after about an hour of being outside and, like, trying to explain to her, like, this is how I feel for you, and I just wanted to let you know, like, you know a lot about me, we decided to go inside. And we get back to the hotel room, and the other girl's asleep still, and so we just, like, laid on the bed, and she's like, I'm gonna lay on the floor by the wall. I was like, okay, like, you can stay in bed. She's like, no, I want you to come with me. So it's like, I just told you I like you, like, what's going on? So I did, and so she's, like, laying on her back, and I just kind of, like, put my leg beside her, and, like, straddled her in a way, I guess, and I started kissing her neck. I wasn't really sure, and she never stopped me, so I just kind of kept going, and after like 10 minutes, I asked her, I was like, "You're not stopping me, I don't really know how you feel, but can I kiss you?" And her reply was, "Well, I might not kiss you back, but yeah, you can." So I did. And then that night it was a really long night, but it wasn't like we weren't doing anything. So it was just a really long night, and we just stayed up and talked and stuff. And the next morning we had to golf really early, so we were super tired for this last round of our golf tournament. And then on the way home, it's like an 8-hour drive. We just kept talking and everything, and it's almost winter, so it gets dark pretty fast. It was dark most of the ride home, and we just sat in the back of the van and we talked everything through. But then the next morning I had to be at school by 7, and so of course I was really tired. It's been a long week of golf and like emotional roller coaster and everything, and I'm pulling out of my driveway to go to school, and I get a text from Kelly, and she's like, "Please leave me alone, I can't do this, I don't want you anywhere near me." And I was it just like ruined my day. Like, I was in a good mood. I was finally like, yeah, I've met this girl and I've fallen for her. Like, she might feel the same way for me. She'll let me kiss her. And then I got that text. So my day was kind of downhill from there. And so I went to school, just empty, I guess. And she stopped talking to me for quite a while. But after a few days, we finally talked again, and she's like, "I didn't really know how I was feeling, but I do like you, and I want to see where this goes." So started hanging out, and then on the 30th of October was when we started dating. So golf was over, and I was hanging out with her at her house out of town, and we like etched our initials, or no, we didn't even etch them. We used a marker and put it like on the bottom of the bridge, and the date and everything. So 2010, I got my first girlfriend, and it didn't go so well, I guess. We decided to get promise rings in February, so October to February was pretty good. Got promise rings for each other, and the night we ordered them, her mom called her out on it and was like, "Hey, I'm not stupid, and if you think I am, then I don't know what to tell you, but if I notice that you're dating a girl, then who else is going to?" So she's freaking out that night, and I had just placed the order for these rings, and she's like, "We need to talk, I can't keep doing this." And I was like, "We're not ending this right now, we're gonna talk this through and stuff." So we did, and we continued to date. The rings came in, I gave her hers in April, and then she gave me mine in May. And so we went into the summer, still dating. It was really good and everything. And then in July, I went over to see her and spend 4th of July with her. Like, it was supposed to be really romantic, like watch the fireworks and everything. And she told me she wanted to break up. And I didn't really know what to say, so I let it happen. So, 4th of July, Independence Day, ironic, I got my ass dumped. And then on July 6th, she told me through a phone call that she had fallen out of love with me. And I just remember the feeling. I just curled up on my bed and hung up the phone, and I shut down. I didn't know what to do. I ended up not eating for 3 days, and I couldn't tell my parents. I didn't want them to know, but they had called me out the night before, and they're like, "Well, we know that you're dating her, and there's gonna be some rules." And I was not okay with that. I didn't understand why I got rules that my sister didn't. She's been dating this guy for 2 years at this point, and it wasn't fair that I had rules and she didn't. And so my parents were like, "Well, have you told your sister?" And I said, "Yeah, I've told her, and Actually, when I told my sister, the way I came out to my sister probably wasn't the best. But I told her through texting, I was like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm sure you have. I'm dating Kelly, and I'm really happy. And her reply was, well, you can be happy all you want. I don't think it's right, and I'm not going to support you. She's like, I think it's disgusting. So the one person I really thought I could trust through all of it in my family, and she completely told me she didn't support me and she wouldn't support me, so that really sucked. And then when my parents called me out on it, they said, we're going to give you rules, like, we want you to know that the world is going to be really tough, and it's not going to be easy. Are you sure this is what you want? And I was like, it doesn't matter if this is what I want or not. I was like, this is who I am. It's not going to change. So, it was a really tough conversation with my parents that night. And then the next night I've fallen out of love with you was really tough. So with everything, I really shut down and ended up not eating for 4 days, I think, at all. Really don't know how I wasn't in the hospital for that, but just the thought of eating and trying to eat was miserable. And then I was babysitting at the same time, and watching the little kids eat was just, I puked 3 times. I was just like, I can't, this is so gross, like my heart is in pieces. I dated this girl for 9 months, and then my heart's just ripped out, and I didn't want to deal with anything. I just wanted to shut down, and I wanted to stay home. It was summer, I didn't want to work, I didn't want to do anything, and it got really tough. So that's that story. We ended up kind of like dating on and off without ever putting a label on it for the next year and a half, but I graduated the following May, so we broke up in July, and then I went through school again through May, graduated, and then I came to college, and we were still kind of a thing. And there's a lot more to this story, but I'm trying to keep it short, but we're at 12 minutes, so that didn't work very well. And then in October of my sophomore year, I met this girl through Facebook, which is something I told myself I'd never do. Like, I wasn't going to do online dating, but that's not really how it worked. We just had this confession page for our school. I met this girl, and we started talking and everything, and one night she asked me my type, and I told her what my type was, but she didn't fit this type at all. And so when she asked me out on a date, I was kind of like hesitant, but I was like, you know what, it's been over a year and a half, I've been single, I want to get back out there, I want to meet people, I want to see where this can go and stuff. So I did hang out with her, and then on our first date, the best part I think of our first date was she was dropping me off back at my apartment, and I just leaned over because she was driving, and I just leaned over and I was like, I've been wanting to do this all night, and I kissed her, and then I just turned to my door and just got out and just ran to my apartment. Like, I didn't know, I just like freaked myself out, because the second girl I kissed, and I just did it, just like spur of the moment, like, hey, I'm gonna do this. And so she texts me, and she's like, well, I definitely wasn't expecting that, and I ran 2 stop signs on the way back to my apartment. So our first date was kind of a disaster, but it was really good, I guess, at the same time. It makes for a good story, even though it's short. And then we started hanging out. We went to a friend of mine from freshman year's birthday, who she was actually friends with. We went bowling and everything, and it was super fun, and it was kind of like the first time I was out in public. Like, I knew I could like touch her, like I could put my arms around her and stuff, and it was really great because I was finally like being me. And it was nice. It was refreshing to finally get to be who I wanted to be and everything. So the beginning of who I was started with this girl, and that was in November, and then we started dating in December, and my roommates are home now. This might get really weird. So the beginning of who I was started in November, I guess, of 2013, I think. And so we started dating in December, me and this girl, her name is Sarah, and it was finally me being me and who I needed to be and who I was. And I think my friends like finally realized that. They was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know, like, Katie's happy. And that first week of our relationship really didn't go very well, because a big incident happened a week after we started dating, and we were over at her apartment, and this incident took place, and it was probably like the craziest night I've ever had in my life. And I ended up leaving her apartment that night. I had to be in Rapid for a birthday party the next day with my cousin, and she was like calling me all night, and I didn't want to answer my phone. I didn't want to talk to her and everything. So we ended up breaking up actually that day. After really like December 1st, this was December 6th. It wasn't even a week, and it was like we went that the rest of December, going through finals and everything, just as friends. It was really tough because I didn't know really the whole situation of what had happened that night, and it was just really tough to try to figure out what was going on and how I felt and deal with the issues that come along with the relationships anyways. And then so she went home. She ended up leaving before I did. She went home, and then I went home and started working. And in January, she came down 2 days before my birthday, and we hung out, and she actually came and worked with me at my job. My boss actually ended up paying her, which was pretty sweet. He's an awesome guy. And my mom was out of town with my sister, so it was just me, my dad, and Sarah. And when my mom and my sister got home, it was from our campus visit for my sister because she's going into grad school for optometry. So they went and checked out the campus in Arizona. And they came back on my birthday, and my parents knew I was leaving that day because I needed to get back to school for the second semester. And I had planned on leaving on my birthday just so I had the weekend to be here and spend it with my girlfriend and whatever. And so we went out to eat and stuff, and like it just sucked because it was all about my sister. Like they didn't ask. Like no one asked about my relationship and how it was going or whatever. And I was super upset about it, so I could not wait to leave. I bought a ring for her, and like the night before my birthday we went out, and I told her, I was like, hey, like I just want you to know I'm ready to take the next step with you. Like I want to make this, like I actually want to date you. I want to be with you since we broke up like a month ago. And so I slid the ring on her finger, asked if she'd be my girlfriend or whatever, and I actually told her that night that I loved her. And I mean, that's a big deal no matter who you say it to. And like, yeah, we'd been going through problems and stuff, but it's just how I felt. So I was like, I'm gonna go for it. And then when my parents didn't like even acknowledge it or whatever, like even on my birthday, like they didn't ask or anything. I was just like, I'm ready to go. I need to get out of town. I need to go back to school. I need to go back to being me and stuff. So in November of 2014, we ended up breaking up, and I had just seen her like a week before, which you can look at my other videos. There's one about Challenge Accepted. That's kind of about our breakup and everything. I was kind of blindsided with it and everything, so it kind of felt like everything about who I was came crashing down. And I had just actually come out on Facebook, which is something I've wanted to do for a long time, but I was afraid of losing my family. Not my parents or anything, because I don't think like I'll ever lose them. I mean, it's been tough and stuff, but I got to open up, and a lot of people have found out and like about who I am and being gay, and it's gotten a lot easier. I'm not gonna say it's easy because I don't think it'll ever be easy, but it's a lot easier than it was a year ago. I've done a lot of stuff with my parents and getting them to acknowledge like who I am, and my extended family. I have a couple cousins who have a lot of kids. There's actually 11 of them underneath the age of 11, and I don't want to lose that connection to them, so I kind of refused to come out on Facebook. But in November, before she ended up moving, so I guess I'd make it October, I just went to Facebook and I was like, hey, I'm going to go through a really tough time. My girlfriend's leaving. I've been in love with her. We've been dating for 11 months now. Actually, we were almost at a year. We were short 11 days, and I asked for support from my family, and then we ended up breaking up 13 days, not even 2 weeks, 13 days after she left and moved away. And like I said, it just felt like everything came crashing down on me because I was finally completely out. Everyone knew. It wasn't a big deal anymore. Like, I didn't have to hide it. I could post pictures. I could do whatever, and it was great. And then just bombshell, we broke up. And I probably wasn't the smartest way to handle anything, but from that relationship, I didn't even wait a month. And I do feel really bad for both sides of the party here. Ended up starting a relationship with a new girl who is absolutely amazing. And that lasted about a month, and I completely fell head over heels for her. And I knew, like, I tried to hold back. I was just like, you can't do this. It's only been a month. Like, it hasn't even been a month, actually. And you're trying to start this new relationship. And she just gotten out of a relationship for quite a long relationship and everything. Well, turns out it didn't matter because she ended up going back to school. And, like, I went home for spring break, or for Christmas break. And I came back and I turned 21. And it got kind of crazy. And she ended up ending that one too. So now I'm just hanging out being me for the most part. I'm not going to say there isn't the possibility of a new relationship soon, but I think at this point I just need to connect with my parents and get everything settled down with them and work out our differences. And I want them to understand, like I did write them. I think the biggest step for me was writing them a note that said, hey, this is me, this is who I am. It's like these last 3 videos, just in a letter to my parents, and we haven't talked about it. It's only been a week since they've both read it, and it's been a little bit of a trial the last couple months. So hopefully soon we get back to where I'd like to be, because I want to talk to my parents about who I am, and I want them to understand. I want them to ask questions, and I mean, if anyone else has questions, go ahead and ask. I know this is really long, but like I said, it is 7 years. It might actually even be 8. It's been a long process, and I'm finally out. I'm finally proud, not proud because I've been proud. I'm really okay with being gay. I'm okay with who I am. I love it. Girls are amazing, and there's a lot of drama, but I think in any relationship there's going to be, in any lifestyle there's going to be drama and craziness and hard times, and I'm not saying lifestyle is a choice, because I don't believe this is a choice. And if anyone asks, my main question is, no, I don't wish I would change, or I could change. I don't want to. I would never want to go back to hiding and trying to be with guys, because that's not who I am. It's not what I want. And hopefully soon. I do have about 1.5 years left of college, and then I have some grad school after that, but I'd love to settle down and, get everything figured out. And I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but a girl can dream, right? So if you guys actually watched all these videos, thank you. And if you need help with anything, any advice, any way to get in contact with anyone else, like, I'm here for you. I'll do what I can. And if it's 2 years down the road and you're watching this, if it's still up, I mean, contact me. You can. I'm not gonna delete any of these for any reason, especially now that I've taken like 9 hours to record everything and edit it. So yeah, just hit me up, and I'll do what I can do. So thanks again. Give me some support, give me some feedback, give me critique, whatever. I can handle the bad, I can handle the good, and it's been a journey, and I'm excited to see where all 3 of these go and where my other videos are gonna go. And if this becomes a regular YouTube channel that's watched, then maybe I'll get some friends on here besides the random videos that are already up. So comment below and keep on keeping on.